Hey guys, today I'm going to be responding to a video called "You and Jeffrey Dahmer, You Eat the Dead, Coward, Go Vegan."
I don't want to be a killer. That's what you do. You have to pay others to stab animals because you're a coward. I was a meat flake, eating the corpse of another, like a loser, but I changed. I stopped murdering innocent animals.
Every video on his channel is pretty much like this. I also used them for the Epitome series years ago, and he just hasn't changed. He makes these super strange videos just saying that everybody who eats meat is a murderer, and then compares them to Jeffrey Dahmer and serial killers.
For my selfishness. 10 years vegan. 10 years of not hurting animals.
If he's actually been vegan for 10 years, then it could explain what's going on with him. If this is not an act, the first time I saw this channel, his videos, I thought that he's acting as if it's a kind of parody of a vegan. But at this point, I think that this is actually for real, unfortunately.
You're not hurting your dog. You're not hurting the parrot. But you pay others to stab animals like a cult.
He calls people who eat natural food a cult. To be fair, he actually has a point. People say that they love dogs, cats, whatever kind of pets, but they don't care about the cows, which is normal, obviously. You want to naturally hunt and eat meat. People do have these double standards. There is a sort of hypocrisy involved when it comes to eating some animals, but protecting the others and saying that it's animal abuse if you hurt the others. The vegans do have a point, but it's simply because of how brainwashed we are in society. In Vietnam, for example, in the Philippines, also in some parts, they eat dogs. And then in Europe, they don't. But it just depends on how you grow up, how your society works, which has nothing to do with human nature, because naturally, of course, we eat wild dogs, we eat wild cats, and so on. It's just that we domesticated these animals and now we protect them. Naturally speaking, there's nothing wrong with eating any animals. How could there be anything wrong with it? He's simply pointing out that some societies are different than others. He doesn't understand that overall, he doesn't actually have a point. He's simply dealing with brainwashed people who protect certain animals and the others they eat.
Mean and nasty and evil and a coward.
He actually, again, technically has a point. I didn't think that I would agree with anything that he says. Not in the way you think, but I wouldn't call people who pay others to kill the animals cowards. But it is true that they don't dare to do it themselves. Always when you present footage of these animals being killed in slaughterhouses, then people look away, they don't want to see the blood. They simply buy the meat in the supermarket, then they cook it until it's unrecognizable, and then they eat it. It is a sort of truth that these vegans are pointing out to our society, that we don't want to see how the animals are killed. We treat dogs and cats better than other animals. It's all true, but it has nothing to do with the way we naturally live. These kind of arguments only work in this slave society. In nature, we eat any animals that we can find, and we hunt them ourselves.
You're not supposed to eat corpses, people.
That's exactly what you're supposed to eat, and every vegan craves these so-called corpses, the carcasses. That's why they imitate meat non-stop.
You've got flat stomach, like long stomachs.
He means the digestive tract. No, we don't. That's the thing. Our digestive tract is in between that of a cat and a dog. Cat's digestive tract is slightly shorter than ours, and the dog's is slightly longer, perfectly making us carnivores.
It's supposed to eat corpses, plaque forms eating the dead. Plant-based vegans.
Plaque has been found to be mostly made up of hydrogenated vegetable oils. That's what gets hard in your body. Animal fat does not, and cholesterol is an antioxidant which actually prevents heart disease. Yes, you heard me right. It's the so-called opposite of what you've been told. Everything is upside down anyway when it comes to your beliefs. Don't be surprised that you were told the opposite about cholesterol.
Don't have plaque.
Many vegans die from heart attacks because of the plaque, atherosclerosis, and these plant milks that you're drinking, the calcium also causes it. It's a lot of calcium in the arteries. Pasteurized milk, to be fair, also causes atherosclerosis. That's maybe not as bad as plant milks, but it's also very bad for you. Raw milk is totally fine.
And don't have high blood pressure and cancer and...
Many vegans die from all of these diseases. They are very sick. They constantly make videos about how sick they are, how depressed they are, their eczema, acne, their gut discomfort, they can't sleep. You name it, they have it. By the way, don't misunderstand me. I'm not making this video for him. He clearly is not really there mentally. He wouldn't listen to anybody. This is to everybody else who's watching this. Maybe some vegan is going to watch this.
Gorillas are herbivores like us.
Yes, exactly. We have a huge gut to ferment plants. Or if we eat raw plants, do we maybe get digestive issues and can't digest it at all? Which one is it?
1% cancer in the wild. And vegans have 4%
In the wild, there is no cancer. What are you talking about?
cancer. And meat eaters have cancer and high blood pressure and diabetes and...
Not meat eaters. People who eat burger patties cooked in vegetable oils, seed oils. They eat rice, a grain-based diet full of vegetables, carrots, kale, some nightshade fruits such as tomatoes. All of that garbage, some of it is worse than the other garbage, but still, it's all unnatural food. Those are the people he calls meat eaters. All of the vegans call these people meat eaters. The actual meat eaters, even the cooked meat eaters on the fake carnivore diet, they don't have any of these diseases. Even on a cooked diet, and people who eat raw meat, they don't have any diseases whatsoever. I've never seen any. People who eat raw meat, what humans eat in nature, are insanely healthy.
So much more. 52% death rate. That is extremely high for a fucking hamburger.
Wait, what? Is he saying that 52% of people who eat hamburgers die? I don't get what he's saying.
Imagine it was you, the victim. You wouldn't want that doing to yourself, hypocrite.
Yeah, but that's nature. It's not hypocritical to hunt food. It's not as if the plants want to be killed also. That's why they have these defense mechanisms, which you call polyphenols and antioxidants. Vegans are clearly not living in reality, this guy in particular, of course. That's why they don't understand that in nature, the best ones, the strongest, most intelligent ones survive, and it's all about hunting non-stop.
Go vegan. Simple.
No.
Or you're a coward, eating the corpse of another like Jeffrey Dahmer.
And that's his thing. He always compares so-called meat eaters, carnists or whatever they call them, to serial killers. But this is also understandable because a lot of people do this, especially when you talk about blood or eating raw meat, which I talk about on my channel. I do sometimes, rarely, but it happens, get comments where people say, why eat raw meat like a cannibal? That's what they will always say. Or what, drinking blood like a serial killer or a vampire or something? Because they watch Hollywood movies, they watch cartoons, and that's all that they can associate with. That's literally the definition of brainwashing. They have zero connection to nature, which is why they don't understand that in nature, everybody consumes that.
The necrophile eating each other's corpse like a cult. Stop stabbing animals, psychopath. Vegans or peaceful, like gorillas, peaceful.
Are gorillas peaceful? Depends on how you define it. If you get too close to a gorilla family, he's gonna knock your head off.
Baboons
Baboons are not peaceful whatsoever.
eat monkeys and they're a psychopath.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense. Baboons are psychopaths. On tigers and wolves, what about cows that eat a bunch of insects and sometimes even rodents because they don't care what they eat? They simply eat the grass and whatever they can get. There's been cases where they catch small rodents, whether it's on purpose or not, you can argue about it. Are they also psychopaths because they eat animals alive? They eat them alive. Well, then they must be incredible psychopaths. Oh, it's just all psychopaths. Hunters, predators, it's all psychos. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Like Putin and evil.
Putin, evil. Yes, exactly.
Changes the microbes and you stink like shit, eating the dead corpse of another.
Hey, come on. If there's one thing you have to admit, then it's that nobody smells as bad as a vegan. Go into a bathroom after a vegan has been in there. You're gonna run out. You're gonna jump out of the window just to get out of the place.
I'm vegan and I don't smell anymore. I don't use deodorant.
Wait, is this guy under-eating to the point where he's not detoxing whatsoever and he doesn't even sweat anymore? Because he's just kind of rotting away? This can actually happen.
Don't stink because of loads of fiber. Eating corpses is no fiber. It stays in your body and rots.
Literally the opposite. It's the fiber that rots in your colon.
And heart attack. Link at the top, I'll show you. You're not supposed to eat corpses, people. Get a grip. Become vegan. Or you're an animal abuser like Jeffrey Dahmer.
And like baboons also, he forgot to mention. Also psychos. These are the kind of comments he leaves under his videos. Jeffrey Dahmer, the necrophile, eating each other's corpse. I was a pathetic person. Then some kind of links probably to some vegan documentaries or whatever. I'm not gonna read it all. No fat, no dead animals, no heart attack. A really, really strange guy. Probably the strangest vegan. No, for sure, actually. A lot of them are pretty out there, but this guy, if this is not an act, which I don't think it is, then he's for sure the so-called worst one. I feel sorry for the guy. He's just really lost, really mentally. He's just somewhere else, living in a different reality at this point. Yeah, just a crazy texts, crazy mind, crazy videos. 51% death rate. Maybe he gets some kind of statistics from videos and then just cites them. Scientific fact. What? Vegan average hands long 64 minutes average scientific fact 110 years ago. What does that even mean? You can't even make sense out of any of this. Oh my god, man. I was thinking if this guy would see what I eat in a day, then he would completely freak out. I would be the biggest psychopath on earth in his eyes. And then I thought, why not actually literally show him? Funnily enough, if he would actually get some brain, then he would probably stop this nonsense. But to get this kind of guy to eat brain, that's probably never gonna happen. Then we also have some spleen here. Total psychopath, right? It's raw meat. Spleen. It's where your red blood cells come from. Full of B12, again for the brain. A super good source of B12. Iron also. Pretty much everything you can think of. Very tasty also. If you can't get blood, it's one of the closest things that you can get to blood. This kind of guy is never going to eat raw meat, especially vegans. Even if vegans quit veganism, then at best they're gonna eat sushi. That's the closest thing they're gonna get to eating raw meat in their life, even though they crave it so much all the time. Everybody on earth craves it. Everybody tries to imitate it in some way. That's why when you cook food, you add red sauces to it. You always, in the end, just want to eat raw meat because it's the best tasting food on earth. And organs are the most nutritious foods on earth and the best tasting ones also. It's just that when you grow up as a slave, you're completely removed from what you're supposed to eat. You always imitate it and want it, but you're afraid of bacteria or food poisoning in general, which can be a legitimate reason to watch out what you're eating for sure. You should always be aware. Gotta get your meat from good sources. There's always this fear in the back of your head. Of course, we are being dominated by fear. That's what determines what we do in our lives. It's kind of what our lives revolve around. We're constantly living in fear, not doing what we want to do. That's a slave's life. It's always about repressing your needs and desires and doing something else instead. Point being, this guy is obviously really delusional, living in a different reality, as I said, because he would call people who eat naturally psychopaths. You can't really get much more lost than that. It's when your brain just doesn't function much anymore. Sad. Thanks for watching.